Hi Capricorn, it's Erin Scott here. Welcome to your September 2019 Alchemy Scope. I apologize for the delay in getting this uploaded, but I was dealing with some various technological issues. We're going to tap into your narrative for this month, even though it's mid-month. We're going to tap into the entirety of September 2019. I almost said 2017, so that's interesting. Maybe there's something about 2017 that's arising for you in the reading. But we're going to look at a couple things here. Few things, actually. 3 things. One is this art scope that we're starting to tap into here. We're watching a speeded up version of a channeling that I went into. We're going to look at divination, and we're going to look at your astrology. So you can see right off the bat, we have the spiraling process that began on the sheet. And in the middle kind of emerged an eye, which is interesting because Virgo also got an eye, also a face, a nose, and an eye. But you're also getting an eye in the middle of this kind of spiraled, internalized spiraled unfolding. So what does that mean? Well, you could be contemplating some stuff, thinking about some stuff, ruminating the past, ruminating patterns, thinking a lot about. Now, this particular eye looks a little sad, worried, kind of, worried. There's a concern in the eye here. And you can see also kind of, I'm highlighting kind of the upper black area of the lid of the eye, but also the underbelly of the blue iris and of the whites of the eye is darkened. So there's a darkening to the lower part of the eye. So we'll have to look at that. I haven't analyzed this yet. I never analyze as I'm channeling. I just draw what's coming. So the word fear came up. Need to know, the need to know. So uncertainty might be causing some stress and some worry. Spinning. So you can see spinning at the lower right corner, lower left corner, and above the eye. Okay. Now the eye is our perception, Capricorn. The eye is how we see the world. It's how we view the world. It's the vehicle that we use to see the world. And you can see this yellow is kind of emerging, right? Yellow underneath, yellow here, yellow there. There's 3 kind of areas of yellow. And now red. Red is coming through the Sea of Capricorn down to the corner or the tear duct of the eye. And then red, you can see my hand strokes here. Very solid, very hard. There were several strokes of that red over top of the eye. So what does this mean? Does this mean that you're seeing this month through some anger? Is there anger that's filtering your perspective this month? It could very well be that. But it's something coming from almost mid-brain. It's almost third eye where that red kind of came from, cutting through the Sea of Capricorn. And you can see here there's green leaves emerging. This is growth. This is new growth. There's something that is pushing to grow through you, right? So Cap, let's see if there was anything else here before we kind of tap into a deeper analysis here. Now you can see here at the bottom there's these 2 green arcs happening with eyelashes. Essentially, these are rested eyes. Green, rested eyes, closed eyes, meditative. And you can see now that there's green emerging at the bottom of the eye, which originally had some darkness to it. And that green is now going up through the A. Through the middle of Capricorn, essentially, Cap, C-A-P. Right? So I think that was it. So let's now dive into the analysis more fully. So firstly, when I wrote out Cap, there were kind of these 3 lines that came out behind Cap. And then the 3rd line came and wrapped around, and then another wrap, another wrap, another wrap. It's almost like as within, as within, as within. So it goes. There's a spiraling inward. I mean, it's almost like a spiral of a drain in a way. That all being said, Cap, there's something that I got from that spiraling that wanted to emerge at the very start of the drawing that is indicating a spiraling inward. You are, again, as I said before, ruminating or reflecting, contemplating going deeper within the realms and the layers of yourself. So certain patterns, you might be awake and aware to certain patterns where perhaps this month with the stellium of planetary energy in Virgo, which we're going to talk about at the end of the video, it might be indeed that you are wrapped up a bit with material accomplishment, material wealth, material societal norms. But yet you're contemplating all of this. Is it true? Is that real? Is it what I want? Etc., etc., etc. Now the other, and so there's some fear coming up around the unknown. That's what I got from the fear and the need to know at the top of the eye. So it's almost weighing down on your perception. On the brow, it's weighing you down. There's fear weighing you down. The need to know, being not happy or not comfortable or not accepting of the unknown, of the things that are erupting and emerging and are more chaotic. They are more Uranian. That's just the chaos process that we're in right now, everybody. And for Capricorn, Capricorn focuses its energy, ruled by Saturn, on manifestation and on going by the rules, being the leader, being disciplined in what it creates. And often it's very aligned with wealth and the career and, again, how society perceives and sees us. So there's this key relationship that Capricorn has with the relationship to the greater society, right? Are we accepted? Is it the norm? Capricorn and Saturn are very traditional. So the need to know, the focus on material reality versus tapping into and allowing the other half of the narrative of material reality, which is the non-material realm, right? But this month of September, there is some fear arising. It could be earlier in the month, but there is fear arising, and it is impacting your vision. You're allowing the fear, by the way, stemming from your own mind. The fear that you have is your own narrative. It's not a collective fear. The fear is your choice, whether you choose to suffer around it or accept it for as it is and do your part to align is your own choice. That's your free will choice. But it's important to understand that fear is impacting your vision this month. And that fear, like I said before, it's stemming from almost like your third eye. Because if we're looking at this eye, this is like a left eye of a face. And so where the fear is stemming from, it's almost like the third eye, which is interesting. Because what does that indicate? Does it indicate that, there is another narrative here that I also am going to bring up for you, okay? But let's talk about the fear first, or the red. Because red is fear, and it's especially fear because it's going through the word fear. So I know that the red is instigating. It's like first chakra survival stuff. And again, Capricorn is very kind of keyed into material forms, what it has to be a success. Is it accomplished? Has it achieved? What does it have? So there might be some fear arising for a lot of Capricorns, the archetype of Capricorn out there, with regards to what it has or what it perceives as successful or not successful. So there's fear about what's next, right? What I need to know what's next because I'm not comfortable not knowing. Unfortunately, the growth path for humans on a collective scale is the need to become comfortable with changing reality and certainly changing material conditions. So this is a growth edge for all of us, but for Capricorn, it definitely is, and it's coming up this month. Let me see here. The anger, or excuse me, the fear that's coming up, it is coming down into the inner corner of that left eye, which is like the tear duct, kind of like what came up for Virgo. So for those of you Capricorns that also have its sister earth sign as your moon or ascendant, etc., or connect with it in a very intimate way, you'll want to look at that because, again, you both got eyes and you both have a tear duct kind of activation. It could be that you're afraid of your emotions, that you're afraid of not knowing how you'll react to something. You might be afraid that you won't react well to something emotionally. That could be coming up for some of you. But because that red is going over the eyeball, it's skewing your vision. So you're going to have, there's a narrative of growth and evolution here. You're going to have to get clean and clear and see clearly about what your own narrative is, what the fear about, what's the inner narrative driving that response mechanism emotionally, okay? Because it all stems with a belief. So that's what's going on there. Now, the other thing was spinning. So indeed, I like I said before, I think your mind is spinning around some stuff. There's a lot of mental processes that are very active for you. And of course, this makes sense, doesn't it? Because of the stellium of planets that we have had in Virgo, it's trining your sign, which indicates that there is this kind of natural, easy flow of energies between a lot of mercurial analytical processing, which is all that stuff in Virgo, hitting your sign. So it makes sense. There could be a lot of analysis going on. Now, there was also these yellow spin outs. There were 3 kind of chunks of yellow coming around, starting at around the eye and ending up at the external part of the eye, starting at the middle section of the drawing and then going outward toward the corners. There's 3 of them. Yellow is your 3rd chakra, your persona, okay? It's also your ego and your willpower. So could it be that there's this need to identify those 3 yellow forms are near the eye? And this could be how you see yourself, also how you see the world. But you're certainly seeing through the lens of the ego or the persona. Certainly you are, because there's all of this yellow formation here. So there's a lot of formation of the ego identity that is very much surrounding how you're perceiving yourself, your relationships, your work, your family, your life. Okay? Now, okay, then the leaves came. The leaves started to emerge at the bottom of the drawing, at the bottom of the narrative, okay? Now, the leaves represent new growth. These are like young leaves, too. These aren't mature leaves. These are like almost springtime leaves. So for me, this is representing new growth, which is beautiful. New green growth. Now, green is, of course, the heart chakra, the 4th chakra. So there could be new emotional growth happening, Capricorn, for you this month. Could it be after mid-month? Yes, it could. Mid-month, we have Venus and Mercury moving into Libra, which could create more harmonics when it comes to where the mind is focusing its thoughts and its energy. So perhaps after mid-month, after this harvest full moon in Pisces, there's new growth emerging that is going to ease your mind. It's going to ease your thoughts. It's going to ease the fear that might have been erupted at some point this month. And the relaxed eyes definitely speak to the fact that there's a calmness and a sense of peace that does arise when you tap into your heart center, your heart chakra, the feeling body, and the aspect or the layer of you, the heart-centeredness of you that naturally connects to source. The source portal really is the 4th chakra. So there's something here that there is new growth, there is new calm and peace emerging, and it is impacting your vision. Why? Because the green shows up at the bottom of the eye toward the end of this whole drawing process, right? And then what happens? That green goes up through the top of the page, and it indeed goes up through the A of Capricorn. A in the Pythagorean alphabet is 1. It's the number 1. And the interesting thing is Sagittarius also had number 1 indicated in their reading. So for those of you with Sagittarius and Capricorn in your blueprint, in your natal chart, in your horoscope, you're going to want to take a look at that. By the way, for those interested in an in-depth, very profound analysis, extended analysis of your natal chart blueprint, be in touch, okay? You can see the links below. Okay, so yeah, the new growth. It's coming up through the eye. So new growth happening. Now, by the way, what I also got when I was drawing this is that when you connect with nature, it's going to give you the peace and remind you about your natural alignment and to get you to that place of new vision. Okay? New peace, new harmony, new sense of love and self-care, fourth chakra, that you need now. Okay? And so connecting with nature is another aspect of the leaves that I wanted to point out. It will create the calm and the peace and the harmony naturally aligned to who you are at your source, at your base, at your foundation. And it will then thus impact your vision and your perception of reality. That green line going up from the bottom of that iris up through the A is indicating that indeed connecting with nature and also connecting with deep heart truth, your own heart center, issues of love and empathy at the kind of greater, deeper level. It's going to impact all of you, your vision, but also how you end up perceiving everything, how you identify you as an I or a self shows up in this world. Okay? Beautiful, Capricorn. Now, let's take a look at what came through for you for your divinatory growth edge, for the message of what you are to evolve and grow this month. Now, you received something beautiful, something so perfect, Capricorn. Now, it's important to note that I pulled all of the signs cards at the end of August. So this is purely for the entirety, certainly, of September. The art was as well, but the art was done in September. The cards were pulled for you at the end of August, just FYI. So look at this, the growth for you, loop of humor. Look at the light side of life. How could this be any more perfect, right? Especially if we're looking at the leaves that emerged at the bottom, at the end of the art channeling for you, okay? And you can see that this has these red berries. Yours was the only sign where I took this picture with the red berries. Why? Because it was called. It was just the aligned photo to take. So red berries next to the loop of humor. You can see the circle at the base of kind of the in-between part of the palm at the top between the ring finger and the pinky finger. You can apply acupressure at that point this month to help you with accessing your humor. So this is your reflection for the month, Capricorn. Don't get so worked up over life. Stay cool, calm, and collected. Don't let your pot boil over. Now, before I continue reading, how perfect is that? Number one, that we have the red going through your eyes, and we also have the red berries here, right? And we also have don't let your pot boil over as the message, which I'm just now reading, okay? So this is aligned, very aligned. So don't let your pot boil over. When you look at things from a lighter side of life, you can avoid negative situations altogether. There is no reason to be offended or bent out of shape over the little things. If you can laugh, you will always be a winner. Go through your day with the perspective. Go through your day with this perspective and see how you are in control of your own happiness. This is brilliant, Capricorn, very much aligned with your generalized narrative as an archetype, certainly applicable to what came through with the art, and interesting. So let's take a look at the astrology. Beautiful growth edge for you. Okay, dear Capricorn, let's take a look. Now, first thing you're going to notice, this particular chart is astro.com. You're going to see that the way the glyphs are positioned is skewed. They're sideways, but I pull this up so that I can read it. It doesn't influence the quality of the reading. It does look a little funny though, so just ignore the skewed glyphs. But if we're looking at your archetype, we can see, of course, as you well know, Pluto, South Node, and Saturn, they're in your sign in the first house. And we have the North Node over in Cancer, which is your growth edge, right? It's all of our growth edges. Every single archetype has the growth edge working through the mastery arc of a Cancerian mastery arc over the next year. We have about another year left. But what we want to focus on here with your month ahead for this month of September is the stellium of planets, the grouping of planets up in Virgo. For you, this is in your ninth house of your belief system, your construct of reality, your paradigm, your worldview. This is also the house of how you expand the self through new learnings. And it's interesting because, and travel, new learnings, new experiences, travel, people, new teachers, new philosophies, etc., education, etc. But it's important to understand that this house of expansion of the mind, or the higher mind, is in fact your belief system. And this stellium of planet in Virgo, in your ninth house, can create a very critical self-observation of your belief systems, and indeed almost a rigidity that might have come up at some point in the month of September, beginning or end, that might really have you be considering things at a more deep level. Now, mid-month, at the Pisces harvest full moon, Mercury and Venus move into Libra. This is a more harmonic place. Venus is in its home sign. Mercury is going to be ruled by Venus. For you, it's in the area of 10th house career, up at the top of the chart, Libra. So for you, there is going to be a change mid-month, as there's going to be for all of the signs. And by the way, you can view, I did a whole video on the harvest full moon, so you can take a look at that video if you'd like. But for you, belief systems, your worldview, that has been the thing, especially the early part of September, that would have been up for rumination, contemplation, review, and indeed you were having the spinning happening here, right? So there is something there. Now, in addition to that, that grouping of planets, again, we're tapping into the Virgo new moon cycle that began the energy narrative for the month of September. But you can see that all of those planets in Virgo are squaring Jupiter in Sagittarius in your 12th house, right? And Jupiter in this 12th house, it is about a spiritual expansion. Naturally, over the previous year and up to November of this year, you really are naturally going through a process of learning more about your soul structure, learning more about your karmic patterns and narratives, learning more about your spiritual essence, your connection to source, and how you are the source field within. So there's more of an expansion process naturally happening for you at this time, and has been. But with all of that planetary energy in Virgo squaring it, there's maybe questioning that's been arising for Capricorn over this period. Again, particularly the earlier part of September, but there would have been questioning happening. What is truth? Do I trust God? What is all this that's going on? What is the karmic stuff? There would be a lot of critical analysis happening with regards to belief systems, with regards to teachers, with regards to teachings, okay? With regards to what you've learned, all of this kind of stuff. So lots of kind of critical thoughts going on with regards to some deeper spiritual narratives for you. Now, and then simultaneously, we've had that opposition from that stellium of planets up in Virgo opposing Neptune with Black Moon Lilith in Pisces in your third house. So this is the lower mind. This is your day-to-day communications. This is your social networks, your neighbors, your siblings, your writing and your speaking, but also the day-to-day operations of your thoughts, how you're thinking, what you're thinking about. Well, for you during this process of September, it's imbued with the narrative of delusionary thought around I am not valuable, I don't matter, and indeed spiritual stuff doesn't matter. A lot of practical thoughts and focus of thought is naturally indicated for you this month with all of that energy in Virgo, which is about physical, practical reality, real world reality, physical matter. The opposite point, that stellium of planets that was opposed Lilith and Neptune, is about not valuing spiritual communications. There could really be a lot of critical thought happening in the higher mind for you, and discernment happening in the mind with regards to anything based on faith, anything based on psychic or intuitive awareness. So there could be a lot of critical stuff going on here, especially with that T-square connecting into Jupiter in the 12th house. So some growth edge here with regards to higher mind, lower mind, and spiritual realities. You know, what's true, what's not. What can I believe? What's real? I want to see proof. You know, there could be a lot of that coming up for you too. Let's see what else. The other thing that I'll just point out is that there is this grand trine, right? So there's this grand Earth trine between all that stellium of planet in Virgo, your planetary placements, Pluto, South Node, and Saturn in your sign of Capricorn. And then there's a trine over to Uranus in Taurus. Now, this indicates that there is a benefic, harmonic activity or result, experience that occurs this month on a physical, practical level with regards to your identity, your belief system, and some creative indication. Meaning that for you, Uranus and Taurus in the 5th house is naturally activating emergent, spontaneous, creative flow and insights, downloads that are activating and aiding your creative self-expression. So indeed, your identity, creative self-expression, and your learning, something that you learn that comes to light for you this month, is aiding you. It's helping you understand yourself better. It's helping you understand your individuation better, your creative nature better. Something is going to wake you up. Something's going to come into being for you to align you more with a creative surge of energy. Okay? So Capricorn, I think that's all I have for you now. Because you were late in loading in September, you're going to be one of the first ones that I load for the October alchemy scope. So until then, I send you much love. I will tell you, I have lots of sales going on in the month of September, and you can find all the links below. Membership details are below as well. Much love. Bye-bye.